Okay guys, so this is the tutorial on how to do a mouth. So a bunch of different features for doing your self-portrait. I'm going to try to generalize it for the Byzantine portrait itself, but this does work for almost everything. So don't feel like just because I'm doing it for the Byzantine portrait, it's going to be messed up. Now, the first thing that you have to learn when you're doing a mouth is that it does depend on the positioning in the face. So I'm just going to do the basic outline of the bottom of the face first, just so that we can position this mouth properly. Okay, so obviously the head, when we're doing a head, it's a pure oval. But we do want to make sure that we're doing the mouth that comes into play. We don't want to just, go for it, because it does change depending on the relation. So you want to do that guiding line down the center of your head. The mouth is going to be at the bottom 3/4 of the face. So what you do is you judge. Usually it's where these your jawline lifts up, and I'm going to put a straight line across and then a straight line above it. So this is going to be your mouth. This is actually the line for your nose, because your mouth and your nose work in relation to each other. The center of the nose, which is like that little cartilage directly in the center in between your two nostrils, is also the guide for the center of your mouth. So that's right here. Now, depending on a bunch of factors, your ethnicity, genetics, gender, the thickness of your lips can change. So I'm just going to do a very generalized drawing of the mouth, but keep in mind that generalized means that it's not going to work for every single scenario. So you may have to adjust it for your own personal situation. Now, every mouth is going to start as a line of some sort. I like to put a little line in the center as well to judge where the Cupid's bow is going to go. So I'm going to do a female mouth. I use this line as a guide, and I go from one side and kind of make a bow shape. Okay, and then on the bottom, I do the same. Okay, for males, the lips are going to be thinner, and you might not have the level of shape that this does. For females, they might be thicker. And of course, that changes too. If you have African descent, your lips tend to be thicker, more full. If you have European descent, your lips might actually be extremely thin. So keep those in mind as well. Once this is down, this is the basic outline of what it's going to look like. I'm going to adjust this middle line because, let's face it, our mouths are not a straight line. I'm going to take this and I'm going to arch it down a little bit to match the point of the mouth. Okay, once I have that done, I'm also going to go again from the center, and I'm going to start adjusting this lip. Now, again, that can mean it gets thicker, it gets thinner, whatever. The idea is that it just has to fit right. Then at that point, I am going to take my eraser, make it pretty small, and I'm going to start erasing the areas that I don't need. This is just to tidy it up and give me a better idea of what I'm working with so that I can see it as more of a finished piece rather than just a rough section. Okay, so that's a basic mouth. Now there are other things that you might want to do that are a little more stylized. So for example, you might want to put a little darkness there, and it makes it look like the mouth is slightly open. You might want to add definition to the lips, and you do that by creating shadow and shade, usually with lines. So use hatching for this, just straight lines down, and then a line that goes up. Now you always have to remember too that these lines are going to line up with the inside of the eyes. Okay, so where the tear ducts come out, those things line up with the inside of the eyes, and this center line always has to line up to the nostrils, or like the in between the nostrils. Otherwise, the mouth is going to look really weird. Okay, the last thing that you do is, if you have one, you can add a cleft for your chin. You can even have, like some people have a double cleft here. And then once that's done, make sure that you shade underneath, because there is always a little bit there, a little bit of shadow. Now, like I said too, this changes. The shape of the mouth can change. I might have a very narrow mouth. So if I were to do that, I would erase all of this. Get my pencil tool again. And then just something like this, which means a very narrow line of the mouth. Or again, your lips can be thick as well. All right, so it all depends on what your specific mouth looks like, but that is the general criteria. You start with a line, you mark it in the center, you add the thickness of your lips from both sides, make sure that you have even a little bow, a slight bow, anything. And then at that point, it's just a matter of shaping it and making sure that it fits with the contours of your face.